This is homework sheet 17 for National 5. In the first question we have similar triangles. So to tackle this question, the first thing we need to do is we need to draw these triangles out. So we've got the small one, which is ABC, and the big one, which is ADE, and draw them out in the same orientation. We'll then fill in the sides that we know. We know this small side here is 2.5 and the bottom side is 3, and in the larger triangle we know that the bottom side is 5 centimetres. Now we're looking to find the length BD, and we can do that by finding the full length of this side of your large triangle and taking away 2.5, because we know this distance here is 2.5 centimetres, so we'll call that side X, and then we can work out what X is. We do this by setting up our ratios, so it's going to be 2.5 over X is equal to 3 over 5. Then to calculate X, we'll cross multiply and rearrange, so X is going to be equal to something. Now that's not your final answer, because you need to remember to take away the 2.5. Okay, because we're not looking for the full distance, we're just looking for the distance from B to D, which is 2.5 less than the full side. In the second question, we're looking to solve the equation 3x minus 2 over 4 plus 2x plus 3 over 3 is equal to 9. Now, in this equation we've got fractions, so the first thing we'd look to do is get rid of these fractions. Now, because we've got a denominator of 4 and 3, that means we times both sides by 4 and 3. Or the quick way we could do this is times both sides by 12, because 4 times 3 gives you 12. Now what I mean by that is times the first fraction by 12, second fraction by 12, and at the end the 9 by 12 as well. We can then simplify. So how many times does 4 go into 12? And the answer is 3. So your next step would be 3, bracket 3x minus 2, plus, and then you would do the same for the second fraction. And don't forget at the end, you need to still do the 12 times 9, which is 108. Multiply out your brackets, and then solve for x. In question 3 we're looking to sketch the graph y equals 4 sine 2x and y equals minus cos 2x. Now remember that the number in front of the function is the amplitude. That tells you how high it goes and how low it goes from the middle. Okay, so that's the amplitude, and the number in front of the x is the number of waves in 360 degrees. Okay, so the 4 is the amplitude and the 2 is the amount of waves in 360 degrees. So that's the same for part B. In part C, you're looking to work out the period of each graph and clearly state the maximum and minimum points. Okay, so that's the highest point it goes up to and the lowest point your graph will go down to. So I'm looking for all three of the things, please, and remember to annotate your x-axis so I can see where your graph cuts that axis. In question 4 we're looking to sketch the graph x squared plus 2x minus 8, indicating clearly the point of intersection with the axis and the turning point. Now, the first thing we do is we factorise this, and that tells us the roots of your graph, where it will cut the x-axis. From that we can then work out our line of symmetry, because it's exactly halfway between your two roots. So you add them and then divide them by 2, so we can work out our turning point, which we'll say will be down here. I need the y-intercept as well, so you make x equal to 0 for the y-intercept, and that will give you a value roughly about there. And then you'll join your points and sketch a nice quadratic. Okay, I'll give you the shape. It'll be a minimum turning point. Okay, so I'm looking for a minimum turning point where you clearly label the roots, the y-intercept, and the turning point. In question 5 we're looking to evaluate 8 to the power of minus 2 over 3 plus 9 to the power of minus 3 over 2. So what we need to do here is we need to deal with the minus powers, and we can deal with that by putting it 1 over, okay? If it's minus on the top, it means it'll be a positive power on the bottom. So it'll be 1 over 8 to the power of 2 over 3, plus, I'll let you do the second one. Now when we're dealing with this fraction, the 3 means what number times itself 3 times gives you 8, and when you get that answer, you have to square it, okay, because we've got a power of 2 on the top line. So you do the same for the 9 to the power of minus 3 over 2, make it 1 over, think what number times itself gives you 9, and then you cube that answer. It'll give you a set of fractions, and then you need to find a common denominator and fully simplify. In question 6 we're looking to solve a couple of trig equations when x is greater than or equal to 0 and less than or equal to 360. Now we do this by getting this trig function on our own, so we need to take plus 1 over, and when we do that, that leaves us 3 sin x is equal to 1. So I've got 3 sin x, I need to find out what the value of sin x. So we divide by 3. So sin x is equal to 1 over 3. So what this is telling me is that my function of sine is positive. So I can draw my cast diagram. Now because sine's positive, it'll appear in the first quadrant and the second quadrant, because that's the only two quadrants that sine's positive. And now we need to work out the angle. We do that by finding the inverse function of sine. So in your calculator it'll be x is equal to sine to the minus 1 of a third. I'll let you finish off the rest of that first part, and you do exactly the same for part B, except this time you're using the cosine function. In question 7 we're looking to calculate the area in the company logo. So what we have here is we've got 3 different shapes. I've got a big square, and what I've done is I've cut a circle out and then placed another square in its place. So we're looking to find the area of the bits that I've shaded in black. So to start this question off, I'd look to find the area of the square and then subtract the area of a circle. Now we know that the length of the square is 7 and 7, the question tells us that, and it's just area equals length times breadth. So it'll be 7 times 7, that'll give you the area of the square. We're then looking for the area of the circle using the formula A equals pi r squared. But do we know the radius? Yeah, we do. Now the circle touches the square at both ends, which means it has a diameter of 7, so the radius has to be half of that, so it's 3.5. So in this first part of the question you'll be looking to find the area of the square and then take away the area of the circle. Now we need to calculate this square in the middle of the circle. Now I can do that by cutting it into 2 triangles. So we've got 2 triangles that we can calculate the area of that using the formula area equals a half base times height. So what I've created now is I've got 2 identical triangles. Now the base of these triangles is going to be 7 centimeters because it's the distance right across the circle. So your base is going to be 7 centimeters, and to calculate the height, well, you would have to half 7 centimeters because you're from edge to edge, this way is also 7 centimeters. So to get your height, you're going to half 7 and do your calculations. So now that you've calculated all 3 areas, you'll have the first square take away the circle, and you've got to add the second square. Okay, so it's a big square, take away the circle, add the smaller square. In the first quarter of 2014, we're told that the BP profits fell by 23% to 3.2 billion. Okay, so if it's a 23% increase, you need to take that 23% away from 100 to find out what percentage of the original value that is. Okay, so taking away that 23%, that means we know that 77% is equal to 3.2 billion. So it's a reverse percentage question, so we'd look to divide both sides by 77 to find 1%, then times by 100 to find the original value. And in part B, we're looking to find out how much profit they made every quarter. Okay, or sorry, for the first quarter of 2014. Now there's 52 weeks in a year, so that means that a quarter is equal to 13 weeks. Okay, so we want to find out how much they've made in 13 weeks. So what we want to do is we want to take that 3.2, divide your answer by 13. That'll tell you how much they've made in a week. Divide it by 7. That'll tell you how much they've made in a day. Divide it by 24. That'll tell you how much they've made an hour. Divide it by 60. That'll tell you how much they've made a minute. And then again, we'll have to divide by 60. And that'll tell you how much they've made every second. Okay, so it's 3.2 billion divided by 32, then 7, then 24, then 60, and then 60 again. And that'll give you how much they've made each second. In the last question, we're looking to remove the brackets and simplify. So we would do this by multiplying each term by x and minus 3. Now we can't use FOIL because there's 3 terms in the second bracket. So start off by timesing 2x squared by x, minus x by x, and then positive 4 by x. We then take this minus 3, times it by 2x squared. We then do minus 3 times minus x. And last but not least, minus 3 times positive 4. So you'll have 6 terms in your second line. And then all we need to do is collect your like terms and tidy up your answer. Okay, and good luck.